My name is Jonathan, and I'm a caregiver for my wife Lynn, who has a permanent brain injury. Things are a bit different now, but we're doing the best that we can. Join us as we experience the Lynn life. Well, hello everybody. My name is Jonathan, and welcome to the Lynn life, and welcome to my model railroad. It was 3 weeks ago that I did a video on the railroad, and it was about these animated signs that are on some of my buildings. And I told you that I would do another video when I finally applied the interior lighting to some of these, this strip of buildings right over here. And I wanted to show those to you. So this has been on the docket for a while, but it had to wait until we actually did the work. And it was a lot of work. It was more work than I want to say a lot more work than I thought it would be, but that's not true. I knew it would be a lot of work, and I kind of postponed it, procrastinated, so to speak. So, because I knew it would be a lot of work. Justin helped me out tremendously. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour of the railroad, a little bit, and give a little background of what's going on. It's still very, very much in construction. So there's going to be some areas where you're going to see things aren't completed yet. But this is a 3-generational model railroad, starting with my father, then going to me, and now Justin has been doing a lot and helping me out a lot on the railroad as well. So 3 generations of my family have touched this model railroad, and it's changed a lot. But it had its beginnings after my father retired in 1990. And that's when he started it. And we're going to go through it. I'm going to go through some interesting things on the railroad, how I name certain things after people, name businesses and things after people I've known. And that's it. So I didn't say let's get going at the beginning. I said it in graphics, but let's get going. This is the area that you saw in the opening. It's also area I show a lot in the on the vlog. There are animated signs here, and I'll show them to you again. One of which you saw 3 weeks ago. There's another one that has been hooked up, and yet a third one over here which I purchased. I've shut the lights off again, and turned the interior lights and the animated lights on for you to see, so you can see those. I got 2 different modes on the model railroad. We got daytime and we have nighttime. The nighttime consists of sort of basically blue rope lights that are, I could actually show you one here. You can see a little bit of it sticking out. See those blue rope lights? They're kind of hidden most of the time, but that's what gives it a nighttime look. And we use it in film as well. You see in old movies they'd use blue lights to simulate nighttime, but you could still see. So that's what I do as well. And I showed you this animated light, the H&C Coffee, before. That's the first one that I hooked up to the transformer that I use only to power these lights. But the interior of the building was not done, and it also needed to be weathered. I'll go over the weathering again a little bit later. This Domino Sugar was on this building, but was not hooked up to the transformer yet. And then there was the third
Standard Plumbing Supply, kind of a cute one. I purchased this one just recently. All these animated lights come from a company called Miller Engineering, and I wanted to get a Borden's milk or Borden's, yeah, I guess milk billboard that they had, but that's been out of stock for quite a while. And the reason I wanted to get that is because I do like milk and sugar in my coffee. So now I'm showing I like a little sugar in my coffee. Standard Plumbing has nothing to do with it. So, but the interiors of these buildings have been lit, all except for the very last one way down there, because that's going to be on a different uh, lighting grid. There's several. How many do I have? One, two, three, four. Right now I have four different lighting grids that I'm using to do uh, the interior lighting on these buildings. If I move over here, you'll see the Union Station. And this is pretty much on its own lighting grid all by itself because there's so many lights in there. There's a complete interior, including offices. I don't know if you'll be able to see them, but there are people in there. That's a boardroom there. Um, there's a long table there, conference table. Interior in the waiting areas, there's a ticket booth, and all kinds of other little details. Lots of people. And then there's some more offices over in here. I knew you'd be able to see that stuff, so I had to make an interior. There's also an interior down below. That's the what do you call, Railway Express Agency track there. There's some Railway Express Agency cars there. And then over here, there's that's sort of an homage to myself. There's a film crew shooting there. There's a videographer or cinematographer probably at that time, and a light. You get an audio guy and some talent, and I got lights on the other side as well, and some cars you can pull. It's like it. It's I don't know. There's cars up above here too, so they can drive from the street. There's a street over here. Um, but that's pretty much it. And there's other lighting that still has to be done over in this area yet. Another building which I've never shown you yet, I'll have to show you again with the lights on as well. Let me do that right now. It's this building right here. It's a trucking company, and it exists more or less in the train yard. And there's a name on it. It says S. Dandignac Trucking. And I was starting to build this building. It was a kit, and it's all wood kit and very detailed. And it was several years ago that I started this. I think in 2021 maybe, or 2020 maybe, during COVID. I did a lot of work on the railroad during COVID. And a very good friend of mine, I haven't seen in years, friend of mine from high school, passed away due to cancer. And this was named after him. His name was Steve, and Steve Dandignac. And my high school friends know what I'm talking about. And I decided to name this after him. And I do that on the model railroad. I have a tendency to name things after people. I like to put people that good friends or people who have passed that have been good friends. I name businesses and things after them. And so this is one of those. This is an area above the train yard
that is the original part of the model railroad. And you can see there's things there that are not completed yet. I've been working on, but this strip of buildings right here, at least the first part from that corner over quite a ways, were all built by my father, and they're all scratch built. That means they were not kits. He built them from whatever material he could drum up. A lot of illustration board, balsa wood, plastic, whatever, but these are one-offs that he made himself. Some of which, after he had passed away, and I had taken over the model railroad, some were not finished, and I finished them. There's a Woolworths over there that wasn't completely finished, at least the interior wasn't. And that fire station was not completed. It's completed now. In fact, let me turn the lights on. There we go. Turn the lights on. So there's an interior above. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but there is an interior above, upstairs in the fire station that it consists of. There's beds, and there is a pole, a fireman's pole, that goes down below to the fire trucks. Those fire trucks are all period fire trucks for this era, and I'll explain that in a minute. There's also other things. There's a bank, there's a restaurant that has an interior, and there's a movie theater. Here's a better shot of the movie theater. It's playing King Kong. This is a theater that is playing older movies. So that's what's going on there. And then this one here, there's up on top, it says Miss Susie's Beauty Parlor. And then below that, it says Jennifer's Modes. This is where I got the idea of using people's names, because Susie and Jennifer are the names of my sisters. So my father named a couple of businesses after his daughters, which made sense. He never got around to naming a business after me, so I've got to do that yet. But there are things on the railroad that have something to do with me, and I made them myself. So this is a Harley Davidson dealership because I ride a Harley, and that has a complete interior, and that's it's not named after me, but it's my thing. Now this area here and over here where the yard is, it's an unfinished yard, although it does have a roundhouse. That was incomplete when my father, when I took over the railroad. And there was a turntable, but it was manual, didn't work, so that's been replaced. That is now a working turntable. It's all hooked up to my DCC system. That's a Walther's turntable, and it works, and it's programmable and all that. I did sort of finish the roundhouse, not completely done. One of my locomotives is in there right now. And then there's the coal tower here. That my father made that, along with the water tower and the sanding tower there. These were all scratch built. And this is this whole section here. The yard is incomplete, and that's probably the next thing I've got to start working on. The whole railroad is basically just a big L shape. The main line is sort of a weird shaped figure eight, a two-track, double-track figure eight. That's all I had room for. I have big ideas, but not much space to work with, which is sort of difficult for me at times. But yeah, you've seen the
the Harley Davidson dealership. There's another thing here. The sign I broke off when I was leaning over, but this is a little old tire company here. Here's the name. It's Justin's Tire Service. So this is Justin's little business that I made for him. And I told him I'd give him a business. He didn't know it'd be an old beat up tire business. But I said, you do have an executive washroom. And there it is, right by the tracks. Can you imagine using that outhouse there while a big freight or something goes by right behind you? That'd be funny. But then you got the Harley Davidson dealership here. And then next to that, you've got the ice cream parlor, which I built. That was a kit, but pretty elaborate. I usually kit bash a lot of stuff. That has an interior, a little fire plug there. And then over here, you got the big movie theater. And they're playing Casablanca, because that's period. This model railroad takes place in the early 1940s, the war era. So that's my plan. My father was a World War II vet. So he had actually planned this model railroad to take place in the 30s because that meant something to him. And I decided when I took it over to boost it up a bit to the 40s, early 40s. And then you got a diner over here, the Blue Star Diner, which has a flashing light on it and a complete interior. Another business to mention, which has been mentioned in past vlogs before, but this is Pop's Hot Dogs. Not fully completed, it needs to be lighted. But this was another scratch-built building made by my father, but I added to it and made the sign on top. Behind it is another building under construction, and I've shown that before, and it's still there. And I want to put a little lighting on that as well. It needs a little something over here. And then there's a little pond, say right there. It's pretty cool, right across from that with some picnic benches, and that's fun. I like that pond. I like the reflection in it. And there's a gentleman with a little kid on his shoulders on the other side. So that gives you, kind of brings you up to date on the model railroad and how it works. It's in daylight mode right now. The rest of the room is dark, and I got, this little area here that kind of covers that and hides the lighting on the other side and illuminates all of this. So it's cool. I do operate it. It's not a very big railroad, but I have 3 locomotives. They're from Broadway Limited, and they're cool because they have sound and they operate realistically. It's all DCC, which wasn't with my father. He didn't have DCC, so this was an upgrade. I upgraded it. Speaking of the locomotives, I got this diesel switcher. It's the only diesel on the model railroad, and it's pretty cool. Watch, you can hear it now. Listen, I'm gonna turn it off right now. I'm gonna literally turn the diesel engine off. Maybe. There it goes. Hear that wind down? And it's gonna crank. You can hear a little. And I can turn it back up. I'll turn it back on. There, she's running. I can make it move a little bit. It's gonna move slowly. Give a couple toots on. Oh, I'm hitting the wrong one. Hitting the wrong button. I'm trying to shoot and do this at the same time. And I get a bell. I can do a bell. Yeah. Turn it to 0 and shut her down. Come on. Come on. They're not shutting off. Oh, there it goes. When I took over his little section, which was just over here, I had to rent a U-Haul, and I also brought some other stuff with me as well from my parents' home that was coming here. And I had to literally cut it in half and remove some of the track and cut it in half, put it in a U-Haul carefully, removed all the buildings and reassembled it here a little differently, and but maintained the main look, the train station, which was a biggie. It was unfinished. It is finished now. There's more lighting that has to be done on the other side of the train station, things like that. But I've definitely kept my father's stuff. The work that he'd done is very special, and I've kept it in it. And the biggest advocate for that is Justin. Justin wants to make sure I don't touch or remove things that my father had done. It's very important to him. And I imagine the day that he takes it over, maybe in his own home, he'd have to reassemble it again, take it apart again and figure out how he's going to do it. And which is fine. He has my blessing to put his own spin on it. And I'm sure he'll be just as much an advocate as far as making sure that any of the stuff I had done continues to exist. So it's very special. Another thing that's very special to me is the fact that I've been a model railroader since I was a kid, because my father was always a modeler. And now this area is sort of my little refuge. I have an aide today, so the aide is with Lynn downstairs, and I'm not that far away. I'm just upstairs, but I'm in my own little world. It's also the area where I edit my vlogs and edit television commercials and things like that. So it's my own little space. This area, before Lynn's brain injury, was our master bedroom. This was our master bedroom. There's like a little ensuite. There's a bathroom, full bathroom off there, and we moved Lynn and myself downstairs. We sleep downstairs in another room, which originally was our dining room, and now it's a bedroom. So there's a lot of history here just with that alone. I remember when this was our bedroom. So, but now it's my space, and having something like that kind of takes you away and gives you a little respite from our other daily life and the challenges that accompany that is important, very important. And I encourage everybody to have some sort of a hobby, something you pursue, something that takes you away from the everyday life, something you can get excited about doing every time you accomplish something you can show off and look what I did. And that's what this model railroad does to me. And there are things I've inherited from people. There's a good friend of mine, my friend Dick, I used to work with. His father was a model railroader, and something I could definitely relate to. And I still have things that Dick gave me that was his father's. His father lived to almost, yeah, I think he died just shy of 101 years old. And he gave me some of his dad's stuff. I still have that. I still use some of those tools, and I remember where it came from. And that's very important. So I remember everything. And even some things that I did make some changes on the model railroad after my father. I took it over from him. And there were parts and pieces and things I didn't want to use. I kept them and I reuse them. Even to this day, I reuse them. So there was a little piece on this tallest building here that I needed a little something, and I used something from one of his projects. So that's kind of the way it goes. And I should talk to you a little bit more about weathering. Let's talk about weathering before I close this video. I know I have a tendency to babble. I hope I'm not boring any of you, but probably a lot of railroad people are watching this video anyways. But this tallest building here was a kit, and I built this not long after Lynn's brain injury. It was built down, it was before I had the model railroad up here. And it was built downstairs. And I needed to add interior lighting. And I discovered I had added lighting to it already when I built it, but it was not digital. So I removed that. It also had never been weathered. And I wanted it to look a little bit dirty, as most of the buildings are. Like this one here is weathered because the train track is right there. So there'd be a lot of soot and all kinds of stuff on there. So that's what I did. And I've weathered the heck out of this thing. It makes it look more real. And what I use mostly, I do use some paint and some stains and things like that. But the primary thing is chalk, weathering chalk. I have, maybe I should show it to you. I'll show you my my weathering chalk. Here's my weathering chalk. I'm gonna open it up. That's my weathering chalk. It's like I use it like paint, and I do apply it with paintbrushes. So you get a little bit of everything. There's some I don't use very often, like this green, but I could. And the blue, I don't use that so much, but I use everything else. You got over here, you got rust colors. This color here, definitely, that's a rust that I use. You got black for soot and dirt. These two are use very dusty colors. I use them often. Use some other dirt colors, another rust type of a color, another kind of a dirt color over here. These blues I don't use very often, but I can. It's got another sort of an olive green here. And these are very effective with, making things look real and dusty or weathered or rusty. Every model railroader has their talents, their things that they're particularly strong in. Some are really into operation. It's all about operation. It's all about the rolling stock and the track and running it and maybe timetables and all that type stuff. That's not me. I do like the trains to run, but I don't care if they just go in a circle. I don't care. That's not important to me. I'm not a point-to-point type of model railroader. My things have always been structures and modeling, trees and roads and things like that. That's always been what's important to me, and weathering things and stuff like that, because I'm an artist. I always was, since I was a kid. And that's what my father was too. He was more interested in the visual and how it looks and making it look very real. So that's what I do. Um, when I had finished this, some of the lighting, Justin took a few pictures as well, and he sent it to some friends of his. And one of his friends said, "Geez, that looks like a miniature movie set. You know, something you would use, miniatures that they would use in movies." And that's exactly what I do. I try to, it's a miniature that I like to photograph or like to videotape or record in video. And um, that's what it is. It's like a movie set for me. And that's what I enjoy doing. Nothing makes me, there's nothing I enjoy more than building a structure over on my workbench, away from the model railroad. I can sit comfortably with some good lighting and start making it. And I still have structures and things that need to be done. And that's what I enjoy the most. So the lighting on the model railroad is not my favorite thing to do. It's something that Justin kind of enjoys doing. He'll crawl under there, and he obviously has a degree in electrical engineering, so that is something he kind of likes, you know, and he likes his computer, you know, programming and all that type of stuff. So he helps me with that stuff. And he doesn't, and he's also much younger, so crawling under the model railroad is much easier for him. So that's his territory, and that's where he's touched things the most. But I'm not as, you know, thrilled with all of that. I'm delighted when it's done and it works. I mean, look at the marquee in this theater. Um, that is awesome. This was quite a job. This theater is an example of good example of kit bashing. It started out as a kit, but the kit didn't look anything like this. It didn't have these windows in the front. It certainly didn't have this marquee. This side, the roof, stuff like that was there. But there's also a billboard up on here that I built. Um, so, and all the lighting, I did all the lighting myself. There's quite a bit of lighting in that. But I really enjoyed making that. One thing about these animated lights, they do make sound. There's like a little bit of a whining sound. You can hear it. I can, if I'm quiet and I don't talk, listen, see if you can pick it up. Yeah, move over here. You can hear it. Yeah, and the light blinking over there. It has sort of an eerie sound. So I think that's all I got for you today, which is plenty to talk about. If you have any questions about the Model Railroad or something you'd like to know about, please leave a comment. I'd love to answer your questions. It's still very much a work in progress. Sometimes there are things that I've done and then I decided I don't like that and redo it. A model railroad is never really complete. So anyways, the fun is building it. And that's kind of where I am. Now soon we'll be going into summer and I won't be doing as much on this until the weather starts getting cold again. But now that the weather's starting to break, I got other things I got to do. concentrate on outdoors, but this occupies myself during the winter months. And on rainy days during the summer, I could certainly work up here. This area is air conditioned, so I could cool it off and still work up here, which I probably will. Maybe I should keep it going over the summer. So much more to do. And once I get started on it and I see some progress, then I want to do more. It sort of inspires me. I get a little fired up about it, and I want to continue it. But please leave a like, leave a comment. If you aren't subscribed, please subscribe. I got other fun stuff ahead. I'm going to do a lot of history this summer. So if you're into that, you might enjoy that. Look for those vlogs. And we'll see you next time on the Linline.